Have you ever wanted something so badly that you would do anything to get it? You might say yes, but did you realize that the hardest thing of all would be failing over and over and over? Well, this is my story of how I built the cheapest flying car possible. So I was chilling on the toilet one day, scrolling through videos of flying cars. I thought they were pretty cool, until I saw the price tag. So, just like any self-respecting electrical engineering college dropout, I knew in my heart that I could make a much worse one for way cheaper. I just needed thousands of dollars to blow on prototypes. So I decided to get to work, right after figuring out how to build a drone in the first place. But that's no biggie. Or at least, that's what I thought, because I was an
freaking idiot.
It turns out, drones aren't as simple as you might think. You can't just put a propeller on a motor, plug it into a battery, and let it fly. To get a motor to even turn, you also need to tell it how fast to turn, and give it the right amount of power. Oh crap. Oh crap! And maybe most importantly, you need a tiny computer to make calculations in real time to balance the speed of each motor so the drone stays level and doesn't spin out of control. This is a drone I had plans to mass produce to deliver humanitarian aid packages in Ukraine, but that project had several complications, so it didn't really get off the ground. So I'm going to use it to give you a super boring, highly technical overview of the components of a drone. Yo, I'm flying high, got my drones in the zone. Propellers spinning fast, yeah, I'm never alone. First we talking motors, that's the power I need. Brushless, keep it smooth, it's all about speed. ESCs, yeah, electronic speed control. Turning amps into action, reaching my goal. The flight controller's brain, picksock on the track. Keeping it all stable so I never look back. I'm up in the air, got the sky in my grip. With my drone flying smooth, ain't never gonna slip. Motors, ESCs, and the cube up top. When these parts come together, ain't no way I'll stop. The battery's the juice, keeping power supplied. Lipo pack in the back, giving wings to my ride. GPS on deck, staying on the route. Returning home with precision, ain't no doubt. When you see me fly by, you know I'm in control. With the best in the game, my drone's on a roll. From the frame to the brain, every piece got a place. In this drone rap game, yeah, we own this space. Word. So anyway, now that you're basically an expert in how drones work,
You're welcome.
Here's how to build a flying car. Step 1. Marry someone with a fancy engineering degree that can make enough money to support you while you spend 2 years figuring out how to build a crazy flying death trap. Step number B.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
hope you liked my first video. As you can see, I currently have 0 subscribers, and I'll be flying this in the next video, so you might want to subscribe. Welcome back. Let's see, where did I leave off? Oh yeah. My creation was sitting on a table in the middle of the shop, surrounded by loads of crap. So you might be wondering, how is he going to get that thing outside? Well, let me tell you about my incredibly well thought out, highly refined, intricate, multi-step process that I've developed from years of experience building these things. If it's up too high to move, I get under it and wear it like a frickin' turtle shell, which never results in more problems. And once it's on the ground, how does he get it outside, I hear you ask? Well, have a little patience and I'll tell ya. I just strap on some wheels and roll it outside. Or at least, that's what I would do if I were a normal human being with any amount of patience. But fortunately, for your viewing pleasure, I'm not. And instead, you get to watch me waddle around like a complete idiot while I bring this outside to the wrong spot and then have to move it again to more level ground. Next, I need to tie it down for testing because there's crop dusters. So if something goes wrong, since this guy can theoretically lift 500 pounds, in order to make this not fly away, I'm going to use this 1,000 pound tensile strength paracord from Amazon to tie it down. I'm thinking that I'll tie it down on each landing gear, one on each corner. Basically, I have some holes that I drilled on each of those. I really don't think stakes are going to do the trick because I think it'll pull them right out of the ground, even if they're like big grounding rods. Since I need 4 mounting points, I'm going to use the trailer for one of them. I'm going to use the truck for another one because my wife doesn't care about either of these. She wouldn't let me use her car or my car that we use to commute to work. So I got a trailer, got a truck, which only works in first gear because the transmission blew up. And I have these refrigerators that have been here since we bought the property. And yeah, they were all broken. And I've been saving them for a purpose like this. Connect the battery. And we'll put some starter fluid in there. Give it a little gas. That looks delicious. There we go. Maybe I'll get some of this crap out of the way. Good enough. That'll work. Let's load her up. Sweet. Stupid door. Okay, we got all the batteries in. Turning on the remote. And now for the first arming test. Beautiful, all spinning. Arming, and I'll give it some throttle. I'm a little nervous. Jeez. Ah, crap. These things took forever to print. So, I know it looks like I have stupid slow reflexes, but that's just because I do. But actually, the reason I ducked was not to avoid getting hit by the plastic shrapnel. I noticed that one of the motors was shaking pretty violently, and it looked like it was about to start throwing metal parts at me. This one shook itself loose. That one's very loose. Okay, let's check out the aftermath. That one's destroyed, obliterated. Let's see where all the shrapnel went. It's all over the place. There's a ton of shrapnel all over there. Wow, that must have hit, oh my gosh. Are you kidding me? That's freaking scary. That's heart level right there. That's where my heart is.
It crumbled and it looks like a crumbled soap bar or something.
What do you think, Skylar?
I'm more impressed with how far that one went over there.
Yeah, I know. That's
maybe not more.
Pretty far. So why did this happen? Well, my propellers were 3D printed, so I'm guessing that one exploded for some reason, setting off a chain reaction that hit the other props. But I've actually had successful flights with these same propellers in the past. In fact, I have a video from 3 years ago when I originally built a different design in the living room of my condo and did some test flights in my parents' garage since I didn't have one. So, now what? I don't know what to do anymore. It was a lot of work to make all those propellers, and I don't really feel like doing anything, so I'm gonna go to bed. And while I was sleeping, an old friend paid me a visit.
You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it!
Shia LaBeouf? How'd you even get in here?
Just do it!
It's been about 2.5 weeks since the last flight, or attempt at flying. And so the grass has grown a little bit. I just left all the stuff here so that I wouldn't have to remark anything, but you can see how high up the grass is on the refrigerator here. I'm really curious to see what it looks like underneath. Oh man. Yeah, that's pretty dead. I'm curious how the grass looks under this one. This one's heavier. I forgot. Yeah, that's pretty good too.
Is your grass too green? We can fix that. Just call Dronesmith Lawn Services. We'll turn any lush green lawn into a brown wasteland. That's the Dronesmith guarantee.
Okay, I'm starting out with a motor test, and this is literally the first time that I'm trying out these new propellers with these motors. So I have no idea how this is going to go. All right, testing motor A at 10% throttle, which is 50% of that because I'm running a 6S system, so it's actually 5% throttle. That's the right direction. Motor B. Motor C. Oh geez, that's not great. E. A little wobbly. G. Okay, all the motors were spinning in the right direction, but I'm not super confident because they looked pretty wobbly. So I'm just going to arm it and we'll see how it goes. Okay, first arming test. It might be a quick one depending on if it looks shaky. I'm a little nervous. Okay, I'm more than a little nervous. 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, that looked amazing. Way better than I expected. Sometimes I just need enough throttle so they're not shaky. All right, well, I guess it's now or never. I'll give it some throttle. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, baby. That was like maybe 10% throttle. I'm so excited. That was so much thrust. So I recentered it and we'll give it another go. Yeah, it definitely needs a little tuning. Probably not ready for me to hop on that thing. I literally can't believe that worked as well as it did. I gave it like altogether like 5% throttle, so it has so much freaking raw power. Yeah, I guess the next test is after I get it dialed in a little bit with the tuning, we'll throw some weight on there and see if it can lift my equivalent in weight. Since this is supposed to be a flying car, I'm going to give this giant Pikachu a front row seat to the action. Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen. Definitely some damage there.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Lost one of the landing gear legs. Now that propeller's in the ground. Those ESCs are all over. Might have chopped some wires, we'll check on that. That was 0 throttle. Pretty sure it can lift a few 100 pounds of weight.
A few moments later.
So as I'm picking up the wreckage, I realized this might be a blessing. My 1/4-inch bolt just sheared in half on the landing gear. So I don't think it actually bent my frame. And there's the other bolt that just sheared in half. Oh my gosh. Yep, there you go. 2 1/4-inch bolts just sheared right in half. Guess what, guys? Here's the other side. Another 1/4-inch bolt sheared in half. So I think we're good to go. We just need to get a couple more bolts. Check that out. Throw it over on my sheared bolts collection. Nice.
Nice.
Looks like it buried my 3D printed feet in the ground pretty good. Several of them. Just taking a lunch break, and then we will get those bolts swapped out and we'll give it another try. So I was going through some parameters, got me a little shady setup here. This might be one thing that will help. I currently have the spin when armed set to 0.15, which, if I understand it correctly, is 15% of the full power, which is okay when you have a 6S configuration, which is just one battery. But when you're running two, you're literally doubling the voltage. And so that's 15% of a 12S setup, which is just way too much power. So now I've changed those parameters to where it will spin at 9% when it's armed instead of 15%. And the spin minimum when it's flying is at 12% instead of 20%. Okay, I'm about to try it again with 3 cinder blocks, which is an extra 120 pounds roughly. And I have taken out all of the slack from all 4 lines tying down the landing gear, so it shouldn't fly away this time. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Disarming. Well, it didn't fly away. Okay, I'm gonna try to fly. Oh, I'm shaking a little bit. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Well, I don't know if that counts, but it did something. And on the front right corner of it, looks like we just sheared another 1/4 inch bolt. So it's not so bad. Easily fixable. I was looking at the footage of that flight, and technically it was a success. We made it off the ground with all 4 landing gear for just a second. Probably not even a second, but it flies with that extra weight. I also noticed that one of the legs went into a hole in the ground from the previous crash, causing the drone to tip forward. And while I was checking the flight log, I noticed that the highest throttle I ever gave it was about 20%. So the only reason it didn't stay in the air longer or go higher was because I was
Nothing but a little chicken.
But with that being said, it would still be nice if it was easier to control.
2,000 years later.
To give the flying car more stability, I decided to use more sensors, which I've installed on this drone as a test, just to kind of make sure they all play together nicely. I have 4 sensors on this drone that I'm going to move over to the flying car. 2 of them are these GPS units. I just have 2 instead of 1 because it makes it more stable. I also have this LiDAR rangefinder right here, which just senses the distance from the ground. And then I have this optical flow sensor, which basically works the same way as an optical mouse by constantly taking pictures of the ground to sense movement. Right now I'm in stabilize mode, which requires input from the pilot to stay in position. Now if I stop giving it input, it starts drifting, both up and down and sideways. Now I've taken control again. But if I switch it to slow hold, which I'm doing now, no more input required, and it stays pretty well in place. But you can see it still drifts just a little bit. So now I'm going to switch to position hold mode right now. And you can see it's extremely stable. And that's because it's not only using the optical flow sensor now, but also the LiDAR sensor and both of the GPS units. One of the cool things about using a LiDAR rangefinder is that it will automatically adjust the altitude to avoid obstacles. So if I go to the left, it automatically increases altitude so it doesn't hit the trailer. Then if I go back down to the right again, it can sense that the trailer is no longer under it and goes back to its same altitude. I'll be transferring the sensors and flying in the next video, so subscribe. Fortunately, today I have a cold and I feel like crap, so I took the day off work and I get to work on this. And hopefully my boss never sees this video because he's gonna be like, "You weren't that sick." And then I'll probably get fired for imitating him so perfectly. Got it all set up. You may notice there is no slack in these lines, and that's intentional because I learn from my mistakes. Sometimes. Also, I'm wearing sunglasses because I'll basically be staring into the sun as I fly this thing.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Well, looks like I won't be flying today. I keep getting an error that I haven't seen before. I have had GPS problems, but now I'm having compass problems, and it's probably because of all of the metal that this drone has on it, which is basically the entire thing is made out of metal. So I'm not surprised that I'm getting compass errors. I am just surprised that I haven't seen it before. So it's a bummer, but this kind of happens all the time. This is just part of the process of building something. But with the magic of YouTube, you don't have to wait. That's me who has to suffer through all of that. So let's go to that day now.
12 seconds later.
I actually just recalibrated the compasses, and they seem happy now, so I'm going to at least do the arming test. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so the hope here is that it does not leave the ground. It should arm, and it should stay where it is. We should be in position mode. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Pretty shaky. Actually, now it's looking better. Okay. All right, I'll take it. Well, that was successful, so maybe I'll loosen up the line a bit and try and get it off the ground. Well, I've worked through some errors. The first arming was good, and now I have 3 feet of slack in each of the lines. So I guess we're ready to try and fly it. And I'm really nervous because this is the first time I've actually given control of my drone over to itself, over to its sensors, instead of me flying it manually from my controller. So it's basically like flying a DJI. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Well, that was something. I don't really know what. I guess it flies. I can't explain that. I guess I'll have to look at some of those PIDs, the PID tuning. But that's for another day.
10 seconds later.
I'm gonna center it and fly one more time. Oh, it's so freaking heavy. Yeah. Okay. Time for round 2. Arming in 3, 2, 1. No. Well, I don't know why that happened.
1 pair of pants later.
I broke a propeller. I thought these were indestructible. That is so far in the ground. Ugh, man. There's the other one. The frame might be a little bent. Yeah. Lost some ESCs there. All right, let's power off. Check that out. That's 1/4 inch thick steel plate right there. Motor seems fine though. That's crazy. These things are bulletproof. Okay, well, I've got some homework. All right, guys, so I recorded like a 20-minute video explaining what happened with the drone. And as I was editing that video, it was just so freaking boring, even for myself watching it. So I'm just not going to put it in the video. If you're curious, I'll put a description kind of like in the comments, I guess, just kind of explaining my take on what happened. But I guess I'll just say that the sensors worked, the tuning sucks, and the build quality of the drone sucks. So I'm ready to move on to bigger and better things, and I'm just going to rebuild this drone one more time and straight up just go balls to the wall with the throttle, which funny enough is actually an aviation term, you should look it up, and just launch it straight into the air and see how much weight it can lift. I'm really curious about that, and I'm sure you guys are too. I am also really excited to announce my Drone Builders Discord server, and I'm going to have it be opened up and free to the public. I want all of you guys to get on it, and it can be a place for the community to collaborate, show off your drone builds, ask questions to each other, and work through your own issues as you're building your drones. I just want to give a disclaimer that, and I guess an apology, that I suck at responding to comments. I do eventually get around to them, as you guys have noticed, but sometimes it takes me a little while. And that will probably carry over to the Discord server. I'll be on there, and I'm really excited to have it. But don't expect me to respond right away. This is just something that I've always been terrible at because I have some weird anxieties. And yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. So if you guys are as excited as me to see how much weight this thing can lift, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. In this video, we're going to load up the drone with a bunch of cinder blocks and see how much weight it can lift. But first, I want to make a few changes to the frame to make it more stable. During several of the past flights with weight, the long legs have buckled under the weight of the drone and its payload if it lands a little bit wonky. So in an attempt to make it more stable, I'm going to make the legs way shorter. But that leads to another issue. The motors are currently facing down, which I originally did because I intended to sit or stand on top of the drone, and I didn't want the propellers to be on the same level as my body just in case something happened. But since we're just going to load it up with a bunch of cement, that's no longer an issue, so I'm going to flip the motors right side up. Before we fly, I want to know exactly how much this thing weighs. So you can see that I have it all ready to go with all the batteries, propellers on it. It is ready to fly. So I have it on this pulley right here, and we're going to lift it up. You can see I have some slack in these lines, and let's see how much it weighs. So I'm going to zero out the scale, turn it on. Okay, it shows 0 pounds. Alright, that's going to be hard to do. Come on, stop spinning. Wrong way. 90.4 pounds. Alright. Now I have it ready to fly with the payload. I've got 6 cinder blocks on here, and they are all super wet. They were dripping water as I was picking them up because they just got rained on. But that shouldn't skew our numbers too much because I'll be flying very soon and it is so humid that there's no way these things are drying out. So let's see how much it weighs. All right, once again, we got some slack. I turned the scale around this time so I can actually see it, and let's go for it. This is going to be kind of tricky. Okay, 0 pounds. Ugh. 305.6. Letting it down. Okay. And I'll show you, just so you know there's no funny business going on. Okay, I'm going to put the phone down so you can kind of still see me. We're at 0 pounds. Hopefully I look really cool from this angle. Okay. My finger is going to get cut off. Upside down. 304.4 pounds. You can see it's spinning on the ground because it's in the air. There's your proof. Don't worry about me. My finger's supposed to look like that.
So let's do this thing!
I am honestly wondering if tying down these cinder blocks was the hardest part of the project. It took me like an hour, but they're pretty sturdy. Ugh. Yeah, not moving at all. So, I don't know. I guess I'm ready to go. I'm calmer than I expected I would be. I guess because I'm okay with this being the last flight, if I break it. Arming check. Well, now I'm hyperventilating. Arming in 3, 2, 1. Oh man. I guess that's it for today. It looks pretty bad. Well, I was really hoping to see some action, just different than this. Wow. Okay. Literally just motors, broken propellers, everything everywhere. Look at that. Bet you didn't know a drone could make art. All right, let's see. One good motor and propeller. One good motor, bad propeller, good motor and propeller. So we have 2 intact motors and propellers. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motors still on the drone. So 1, 2, 3 of them flew off. ESCs are just everywhere. So yeah. Well, at least it's convenient that only 2 of the 8 batteries were still connected. These 2 right here. The others don't even have anything to connect to anymore. Literally just gone. I think I know what happened. I have 3 screws holding on each motor mounting plate. And on all 3 of the motors that came off, it stretched out the screws, and you see how this is all shiny? The nuts just slid right out of the nuts or just sheared off. Looks like that on all 3 of them. Here's the other one. Pretty nice and shiny on the end. See how that has no threads left? Just pulled it right out of the nuts. Same with that one. I bet the reason I've never had that happen before is because the motors are on top of the arms now. And so, as you can see, the thrust would have been exerted right here on the end of this, which would it would be pulling up on this end, which would be exerting a lot of pressure on that first screw right there. I have flown it with almost this much weight in the past, but the motors were mounted underneath the arms, so it was kind of pushing up instead of trying to pull all that force on these screws. Well, this is like the most awkward angle I could possibly record from, but my phone just started recording, so I guess I'll talk. Yeah, this kind of sucks. I was really hoping to have something more to show for this project. I don't know what to say. One interesting thing I did notice as I was going through the video of the explosion was that it did shift the entire mass of the drone as the motors took off by themselves. I can't really tell, but I can tell that all 4 legs actually did get off the ground by just millimeters. at some point, which is really interesting. I don't think I can call it flying because I don't think that they were all off the ground at the same time. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that the motors were actually, some of them were actually in the air off the drone when the drone was lifted up off the ground, which is kind of weird. Well, like I said in the last video, I am ready to move on to bigger and better things, and I'm not going to let this failure stop me. I have a different project that I've been working on just a little bit, and I was a little bit embarrassed to even show this picture because I know the body and the arms look kind of disproportionate. The arms are a little bit too long for what the body is, but that's just because the body is 3D printed and it's the biggest that I could fit on my 3D printer. It's about 2 feet square. But that's what I'm going to be working on next. So I'm not done making big drones by a long shot. The next one is going to be way bigger than this one, which I'm super stoked about. So I don't know why I'm about to tell you guys this, but I actually lost my drone job since the last video. I got laid off. Me and my boss actually did see my last video. Haha. So that's kind of awkward. But I also have a new baby coming in a month. So life is changing a lot for me. I got a lot going on. I'll also be spending some time finishing up this drone for a friend. It's been in the works for a long time. It's an agriculture drone. It's, yeah, gas powered. It's a 2-stroke engine. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I guess I'm just showing you guys that I'm a mess and I've got a lot of crap going on. But with all that being said, I'm actually going to try to start uploading on a weekly basis and see if that helps grow my channel faster. I am still under 700 subscribers. But just to kind of give you a heads up about the weekly videos, I'm going to be experimenting a little bit. I will still be doing build videos as I've been doing, like build and fly videos. I want to do some videos of like analyzing other people's builds, because there's a lot of really cool builds out there. And that way I can see what other people do that works, and you can also see as you follow along. There's also been some cool stuff posted on the Discord server that I announced last video. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, go check it out because it's awesome. I'm really glad that a few of you guys jumped on there. It is a very small community right now, but there's some really talented people that watch my videos, and it makes me almost a little bit self-conscious because I know that a lot of you guys build some really cool stuff. So if you're curious about that, go check out the Discord channel. I'll put a link in the description. Thanks again, guys. I love ya. I'll see you in the next video.